Hey guys! Great. So I am finally done with my didactic year and I'm about to begin my clinical rotations. After brief reflection of how this past year went, I came up with 5 things that I wish I knew before PA school started. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So the first and probably most unusual point is how to meal prep. So this is primarily for the people who won't be living with their parents or spouse or anyone else in the house to feed them, like me. Long story short, I was not prepared to feed myself 3 times a day. For those of you who haven't had the pleasure of experiencing didactic year yet, it kind of feels like any time you aren't spending studying is wasting time. That includes chores, errands, showering, food shopping, and cooking food. You are constantly stressed for time, and when you've got 3 exams in a single week, I promise you, you will ignore those little tummy growls, either because you have no food, you are overdosing on caffeine, or you're simply too stressed to think about it. But the reality is, everybody's gotta eat. If you learn to meal prep properly, it'll save you time and money. My favorite Instagram page that I follow is Pinch of Yum, and my favorite YouTube channel is Tasty. They have the best and easiest recipes to follow. So, if you're like me and you don't know how to cook anything aside from pasta, bagels, or eggs, do yourself this favor and learn how to meal prep properly. Your body, your mind, and your grades will thank you. Okay, so enough food talk. The next thing I wish I knew from the beginning of didactic year is how to study. PA school is kind of like an 8 to 5 or an 8 to 3 job with lectures throughout the entire day. Then you come home from work to study some more. Each week we had a few quizzes or exams, but it depended. Depended? Anyways, my most important advice for y'all is to pay attention during lecture. If your program is anything like mine, you're required to be there, so might as well make the most of your time. Pay attention to what the professor says. If they discuss it, highlight it. If they emphasize it, highlight it, bold it, and change the color. This will not only help you to absorb the material while studying, but also helps you to focus on the likely test questions. Considering we are in lectures all week, you really only have after lectures throughout the week and the weekend to study. So the biggest key to good grades in PA school is to be a consistent studier. And remember, all the information comes back later on in the year, so if you study hard for each exam, it'll lead to easier recall the next time around. A study resource I recommend using early on in PA school is Pants Prep Pearls, aka the Bible for PA students. Another resource is Up to Date. It's a resource that practicing physicians use for up-to-date information on the management of different disease states. Another thing I wish I knew going into PA school is how difficult it is. I think the hardest semester is probably the first semester. And that's not because the information is more difficult, but because there's a learning curve. It takes a little time to adjust and get used to things, but once you've figured out your routine, it gets easier from there. Be comfortable with the idea that for your first year of PA school, your social life will be very limited. If you end up having a whole weekend off, it is rare. You will honestly be studying all day, and at the end of the day, you'll still feel behind or that you didn't cover enough material. This is normal. To be frank, it was difficult, but totally doable. Don't be scared and just know that if you put in the work, you're gonna do great and pass all your classes. Don't think that you're gonna be studying every single second of every single day, because that is not the case. For the more difficult classes, yes, you're gonna be studying consistently, but for the easier classes, you can wait until it's closer to test time until studying. Another positive thing about PA school is that the misery of didactic year is very short-lived. Time flies by when you're studying, and before you know it, you're gonna be done with didactic year and off into your clinical rotations. Mental health. Take care of yourself first and foremost. Keep the things that make you happy and that relieve your stress. Make sure to always have that you time. Whether that be going to the beach, yoga, gym, Netflix, eating. Whatever it is that you enjoy, keep it. You will be studying most of your days for long periods of time, so make sure to take breaks when you need them. I recommend that every hour that you study, you take a 5 to 10 minute stretch and pee break. You will have close to 100 exams during your didactic year. So So if you fail one or two or you don't get the grades that you always want, don't panic. You will bounce back and you will pass the class. Some things I did to make sure my mental health was taken care of was keeping a schedule. I would study hard throughout the week so that I could have Friday and Saturday nights off. Because if you don't give yourself something to look forward to,
you're gonna go crazy.
Also, you need sleep. Don't stay up all night studying. There comes to a point when your brain stops absorbing information and you're probably doing more harm than good. If you're having trouble sleeping, whether that be because of anxiety, stress, or maybe even bad sleeping habits, some super helpful recommendations that I found are maintaining good sleep hygiene. That means going to bed and waking up at the same time, eating a light snack before bed if you're hungry, keeping the bedroom cool, dark, and quiet. The biggest thing that helped me was that 1 to 2 hour wind down time before bed. But most importantly, if your lack of sleep persists, talk to a doctor and your family about it. My last and probably hardest point for some of y'all to hear, including myself, is grades don't matter. Most of the students coming into PA school are type A students, meaning that they care a lot about their grades and usually do well in their classes. It's kind of tough not to care about your grades during didactic year because that's basically the only reward you get for all your hard work and study. There's a ton of information covered in such a short amount of time. So if you can't remember things or don't do that well on an exam, don't beat yourself up for it. The information you absolutely need to know will be repeated a ton of times during your didactic year. And if you're not a great test taker, that's okay, because you could be the person that communicates with patients better and applies the material you learned better than those students who got A's in every test just because they were better at memorizing than you were. Regardless of your test scores, you're going to be a great practitioner. Do your best to remember that the PAC is the only thing that matters. Alright guys, that is everything I have for you today. I hope you're able to apply these tips to your didactic year. Please give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed watching, and make sure to click the subscribe button if you want to see more PA related videos like this.
Until next time.